mean, they are quite tough to handle.
That's how we like it.
Good morning, welcome to episode 3 of the Species Hunt for 2023. And guess where we are today? We're back in North Wales down the Llyn Peninsula. Got a nice bit of lighting tonight, got the ring light with me. It's about, let's check the time. I think low tide's about 7:45. We're 10 to 5, so we're going to fish it light in effect approximately just over 2.5 hours down. I'm going to fish it an hour and a half, 2 hours back up. Yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight. Got my ring light sorted, better lighting. I'm going to fish 2 rods, one with a small hook on a pulley rig. Basically we've got a stopper on it that I can adjust it to make it into a paternoster. It's a short rig, so it should fly out. I'm going to put that out to start with. Then other rod, I've just got a simple running ledger rig, an 8-0 hook. Baits we've got whiting, bullet tuna, squid, and we've got prawns. So I think on small hook I'm going to try a bit of prawn and squid, a bit of cocktail bait on that, on a 3-0, and then on the running ledger rig I'll probably put a decent section of whiting, probably head to start with, and we'll just go from there basically. I think I've solved my lighting problems now, hopefully, fingers crossed. So yeah, I'm going to get the rods tackled up and then we'll fire the rods out, and then when it gets light I'll show you the setup I'm actually using. Just hoping I get off the marks. First trip to North Wales in 2023. And I've been a bit quiet over the past couple of weeks. I've been really busy working, and obviously I think most people after Christmas, January, it does hurt your pocket sometimes, doesn't it, when you've got kids. And I'm a bit disappointed I haven't been able to get out as quickly as what I did last year, but like I say, I've been busy working, so yeah, I'm really happy about tonight. We've got this morning should I say, we've got a light southeast wind, I mean. It says 20 mile an hour on BBC, but I don't think it's that strong. And it's just put a little bit of a surf on, nothing too drastic. But targets tonight really, on the smaller rod I'm after pollock, coalfish. I've had one codling off here before, a long time ago. Ling, rockling, just anything that'll pick that bait up, pouting, porcod, whatever. And then on the bigger rod bait I'm after husks, congers. We don't catch taupe, so it is what it is. So we'll see how we get on. Like, I'm going to stop nattering and I'm going to get cat tackled up. That's the first bait that I'm putting out. Single 3-0 hook, squid, and they're actually cooked prawns, but we've got a nice scent of them, and they do work off here for pollock and stuff. So we'll see. It's a lovely bait that. You know, sometimes I've got some nice squid, and just send the prawn a bit with a bit of squid just to make it a fuller bait. So we'll get that clipped down. We'll get it banged out. Just putting one rod out to start to see how it fishes. I'll be tackling the other one up in between time, but you know, there's sometimes a mega tide run at this stage of tide, and it eases in a short while, but it might have already been and gone because we've only got small tide, so we'll see. Anyway, right, next rig, simple running ledger rig. Got a whiting head on an 8-0, about maybe 2.5 foot to 3 foot of 200 pound mono, 2-0 swivel, 60 pound shock leader, swivel bead, link of line. I've got an homemade clip on there to put the lead on when I cast out. You can see that. Saves buying them Gemini ones. You just lose gear off here, so there's no point in forking out for stuff you don't need to. So it's fishing alright. I've already had a bite on the other rod that I connected to nothing, but the bait hadn't been tampered with too much, so I just recast it. We're within 5 minutes of it being out. But I'm going to cast this out, have a brew, make some wraps up, and then we should start fishing productively. You know, it would be nice to fish off here and have like 2 rigs, a rig ready all the time, but sometimes you lose your rigs, don't you? So you've got to tie a shock leader on everything, so you can't just be expecting to reel in and do a quick changeover of a rig if you like. So yeah, nice whiting head, quite a big bait. We'll leave that out for a half hour or so, then we'll make something a bit more squiddy, whitingy and bullet tuna cocktail next time. We'll see how we get on. It's just to get us fishing that, so we'll see how we get on. We've only got 5 ounce plain lead on as well, you'll see just there in the background. Fingers crossed we'll get some fish out today, this morning. I don't know how this is going to pan out, but rod's just here. It's not too bad, that is it? At least you can see them. I ain't got any tip lights on tonight or anything. Or... I did have a bike light that was on the tripod, a rechargeable one, but gradually just deteriorated the battery on it. I had to bin it. Current's sort of ripping to right just slightly, she's expected to have a bit of current as the sea ebbs out, sort of thing. As we get to low tide, should ease up. I always have reels in run, so hooking something a bit tasty, you don't put rod in. Anything could show up here at any time of year. So that's thinking behind that. Yeah, it's something's just gone. That's slid off that tub. I'm going to go pour myself a brew anyway, and in a minute the right hand rod's going to look a bit loose. I'm going to pour myself a brew, make some wraps up, and rechange this rod up right here. So I'll be back in a minute. Right, so I've had my brew. I'm just going to make up some wraps. Nothing's happened really so far on the first couple of baits we've put out. So get my baiting needle. It's an homemade baiting needle. It's well, I got the idea off of Mark Williams' Llyn, I think it's called. I've been watching a lot of his videos lately, to be honest with you. It's quite interesting, especially the thoughts about rigs and stuff. That's why I'm using this short, like pulley rig, paternoster style. We have had a bite on already. So, I mean, you've noticed I'm putting away the fish out so far. I've got them here, but bullet tuna they are, and they're just like a mackerel really. We've got oiling, and that's, for me, off these rock marks. Put a bit of that on, it might do you fish. So I'm going to make a wrap for that smaller rig, smaller hook, whatever. Got some squid, and obviously I've got a box of prawns. The cooked prawns might sound a bit mad, but they do work. I'm just going to make a little cocktail bait of bullet tuna, squid, and a bit of prawn. So because this is a squid I've been getting, I get it from the Oriental Wholesalers in Doncaster, £3.50 a box. Cheaper than most tackle shops, is what it is. I mean, people's going about washed or unwashed. I don't really know whether this has been washed or not, to be honest with you. But it does have some, when the box is defrost, it does have quite a bit of ink in it, but it's obviously not covering your hands like unwashed does, so I think it's partly washed, I'd say it is. It's not prepared though for eating, because it's still got the skin on and stuff. It does the job, it's done really well. So I've been using it a lot over the past sort of, well, probably 14 months. It does the business. The husks seem to like it. So I'm just cut a small strip of bullet tuna off there. That'll do two. That I'll cut that in half. So we're just aiming for a bait. Probably just about the size of your thumb for that. It's actually a 4 BMX, that hook. Might be a bit big, I don't know. It should be alright for raffling and stuff. Pollock and that. You've just got to be careful on here, because if you put a bait out, you don't really want to lose a fish, do you? That's trouble. If you put a small hook out, especially in darkness, you don't want to be losing like a cuss or a conger. So we're just trying to fish as small as I dare. Conditions. I think I was just playing in that. Fish as small as I dare for the conditions, if you like. So I've got a bit of squid off as well. Lost the prawns somewhere. Oh, there here. Just gonna get like probably just two. We're gonna make a small bait in comparison, even in comparison to what we just put out, just to see if it'll tempt a fish out. Because I'm sure some of them pollock and what have you, I'm sure that they turn their nose up at baits, at big baits. I'm sure they do. I've had the odd one on a tote bait. You'd think that you catch more, wouldn't you? Because they eat full fish. But I think some of the mackerel baits we put out might be a little bit too big for him, and he might put them off. Especially if there's like a shoal sandeel out there, or whatever else, shoal smaller fish that they're feeding on. So usually this size bait is perfect. Now we're trying to resist the temptation to put oily fish on this small, smaller hook. Because, you know, obviously we've got squid on, which is attracting to shark species. But I'm just hoping that it might fish longer and not attract anything sharky like a doggy. I was hoping it might fish longer and give us a chance of hooking something else like a cod or a coley or something like that, or even a rockling. Now this, it's a lovely little bait. This, it's thin, it's going to cast really well. I'm just going to turn my head touch so you can see. It's thin, it's going to cast really well. And it's just a nice little wrap. Now, you know, some people might be laughing at me with the quality of bait I've got. I mean, your bullet tuna and your squid's fine. Whiting's a bit manky, as it goes manky when you freeze it, but that's what we're putting on. So it's just about probably just adding a bit of bait presentation with using bait and needle, using elastic, and eventually if there's any fish here you'll get a fish even on something like that, you know what I mean? So that's what we're using on that small rod next. I'm going to reel in, hopefully we'll get the rig back, and we'll get recast, and hopefully that'll do as a fish. I was hoping to bring fish oil down and inject some of the whiting, but I wasn't bringing a full litre bottle down. I didn't have anything to decant it off into, so stuck with what I've got. It should be light soon anyway, in about another hour and a half. So I like fishing today. I like going dark to daylight. I don't like really daylight to dark. I like getting off here in daylight for some reason. It's not too pleasant coming down in the dark, but you just feel a bit better in terms of safety, knowing that it is going to get light, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to reel this rod in upright, put that bait on just wrapped up, wang it out, and we'll see if anything else happens. I'll give you an update in a sec. I've had no interest whatsoever. When I reeled in for that bait change, that last wrap I made up, I lost my rig, shock leader and everything. So what we're going to do now, we're going to make a bigger bait up for a big rod. I've got the rest of that squid that I just nipped a slice off. I keep all these insides and everything, me. So I'm going to thread that down the needle, if I can. I'll thread it down both. I think I'm going to put it on, so both spikes on this like baiting needle, just so it's mounted on both, basically, if I can. I'm going to make a slightly, it's going to be slightly small, that whiting head that we put out just then on the running ledger rig. So I'm going to put that on like that. I'm going to whip it on with some elastic. I'm just making a bait with a bit better, more scent on it, if you like. It's targeted huss and congers, this, primarily. Obviously if anything else comes along, so be it. I didn't have a bite to start with on that small one. I'm sure I did on the first bait up. That was connected to nothing. It could have been anything though. It could have been a lobster moving bait on bottom, a crab moving bait on, you know. Occasionally get spider crabs on here. So I'll just tension that against the hunt needle like that. Put that down a minute. I'm just going to offer this bullet tuna up. Sort of aim to cut a strip of bullet tuna roughly around the same sort of length as a squid. Did quite well on bullet tuna for Huss last year. Huss seemed to like it on cocktails with with squid. So that's my stripper bullet tuna there. It's just going to go onto here, be bound onto it. I'm going to get stripper whiting on the other side as well. I mean, how does everybody rate whiting as a frozen bait? I mean, I know it can work, can't really coat much on it, to be honest with you, unless it's been with a cocktail. Still waiting for a bite, man. It's gone really cold on here as well. Right, so I've just wrapped that onto there like that. I'm going to take this whiting, I'm just going to cut down where the gut sack is, where I remove that head, and all the belly meat, with the gut, some of the guts still intact. I'm going to cut it out. It's still partly frozen, that, so I've just got like that, with some guts in it. I'm going to balm that onto the other side of this, if I can. You can build some really nice wraps up just by little bits of this, a little bit of that. If you've got time to do it, you can get a really nice bait with a lot of scented, quite well presented. It's got absolutely Baltic on here. The wind's picked up and it's freezing. So I'm just going to wrap that up. It's just starting to show signs that light, getting light, I think. Put plenty of elastic on. You've got to use plenty of elastic on stuff like this, but it's achievable to do it in between bait ups. Just putting that bit of extra time and effort in could do lots of fish. There's some right juice coming off that. I'll leave that on needle tackle to put it on hook, but that's one hell of a bait, that is. Should be. I'll show you how we mount it on as well when I've reeled in. We could do that now actually. So, yeah, we'll do that now. Won't be a sec. Right guys, I reeled in that whiting head and I've hooked. It must be an 8 or 9 pound conger, him. It's the biggest conger I've had for a long time, that. Quite happy with that. See if we can get a picture with him and stuff. Full whiting head. And he's hooked, lovely. Look, nice fish that, lovely fish. Give a good fight as well. So, yeah, get in, eh? Let's see if we can get a picture with him, or some form of footage, if you like. It's not gonna, that might be as good as we get, I'm afraid. We'll have to take a picture of him anyway for the species hunt. So, I'll do that while he's still on hook. Get in. Good start that. I was just writing whiting off as well. That's the first fish I've ever had on a single whiting. You know what I mean on itself. Get in. Alright, I'll just get a bit better footage with him if I can. He's just not holding still. Not the like. Yeah, not a bad little snake. It's probably £7. We'll give him a send 7. Not get giddy. It's the biggest one I've had for a while though. So, need to get him back. Right, I'm going to get him put back. Really happy with that. I was just hoping to get something for the species hunt tonight. I didn't expect to get a conger. I knew we had a chance of getting one, obviously. That's the biggest one we've had for a while. I know there's still basically a bootlace, isn't it? But it's a bigger version of a bootlace, if you like. Just you can get bigger off here. I've seen them up to £20. And I'm happy with that. But then, guess what I did then? I put that bait on there wrapped up. You know, with squid, bullet tuna and whiting. Gone against what we're working straight away. Because I had no choice. So I made another bait up anyway, ready for that one. It's a whiting body with a bit of squid attached to it. And that'll just be hooked through once, just like here. I mean, you saw how big that bait was. What you saw me do, I showed it you when I was baiting up the whiting end. It was massive. The positive thing was as well about that, it's not only hooked itself. I'm guessing some other fish have took the rest of that head off the hook. Because you know how bony a whiting skull is, when you put a hook through it, that ain't coming off. I've rebaited the small bait as well. I've just put it's third bait up on that. I've just put bullet tuna and squid on the small hook. But you know, that's the first decent fish I've had on the fixed spool setup for years. I'm putting the fixed spool on this orange rod, the stiffer rod of the two. I say stiffer, it's got a bit more power at first. It's 3-piece, first 2 sections. It's the new one I bought back in the last year. Tip section's quite sensitive, but it didn't detect the bite. It is supposed to be a conger rod, but it seems well and truly very happy with fixed spool reel attached to it. So I've got the Shakespeare agility reel on it, 26-pound line, 60-pound shock leader. And then on the other rod, I've got my Tronics Pro Gorilla Surf MX. The budget rods, don't get me wrong, but the budget rods for my budget basically. I can't afford to be paying £300 to £600 on rods. Oh, I've got a bite on the old smaller rig then. See if it develops into it. Just going to... Yeah, so I've got £25 line on that one, on the Tronics Pro Gorilla Surf, 60-pound leader. You need a leader to I've fished without leaders before in here, don't get me wrong, I have. But when you're fishing this high up, you need a leader. We've got a lot of like a greeny algae stuff on the rocks at the bottom. My well is. The grip, don't get me wrong, I haven't got any studs on. They do grip, don't get me wrong, but I'd have to be very careful going down there to land a fish. With these rods, if it's anything up to double figures, I can probably just lift it up onto rocks and then lift it with shock leader. That was a positive bite that as well. I'm hoping as it gets light we might get a pollock out or something, or a coley. Coleys usually like feeding in darkness. I'm surprised I had something on it. Rockling do as well, 3 beardeds. But I think we'll do another fish. I'm sure we will. Oh, I've got a right bite on left hand rod down. That might actually be quite a bit into that. Does it get? Yeah, so my thinking was, sorry, nothing else to materialise on them two rods. I've had bites on both rods just then. It could be tide run. My thinking was, a stiffer rod, stick with fixed spool setup, which I found works well, and put the conger rig on it. Because obviously, the strength of the rod, it's a conger rod, isn't it? Would work well. I can cast further with my multiplier on the Gorilla Surf, so that's why I thought I'll wang the small bait out far and have a big bait in close. Running ledger rig without clipping anything up or down. It's not going to go very far anyway. But that rig, the running ledger rig, is perfect for conger fishing on here. Honestly, it's absolutely deadly. It's when they're getting a snag with a running ledger rig, you're pulling directly on your hook, straight away, no messing about. And it'll drop the lead quicker than what it would do with a pulley rig as well. Pulley rigs aren't so good for congers on rough ground marks, I don't think they are anyway. I've had, in the last 18 months or so, I've had, well, it's probably 20 months, I've had a 12-pound conger, I've had a 10-pound conger, I've lost a 10-pound congerish on surface, I've had that was 7 or 8 pound, and they've all been on running ledger rigs. I think sometimes when you're using a pulley rig, it might pull you into the snag and you can't get it out. You've probably got to drop your lead, haven't you, before you get any pressure on the fish. With a running ledger rig, you're getting pressure on fish straight away. It's an interesting point. That's just my thoughts on that anyway. It's proof is in the results, isn't it? And I've probably dropped on here by bringing these whiting down with me. Martin, my mate from Doncaster, he's a big carp fisherman, but he's done a lot of fishing on the Humber this year, and he's been bagging them up for me. And using them in winter off marks around here, it's probably a good idea, isn't it? Because you're introducing fish into the diet what the fish is eating, if you like. I bet he couldn't believe it's look when a whiting had come swimming past it, all moving about at tide. Right, I'm going to change some baits anyway. It's just getting light. Just lost a rig on the running ledger rig. Could be a conger, couldn't it? You never know. Good thing about the O'Shaughnessy hooks, they do not bend out, do they? You need to put some right pressure on them to get them to bend out. I really love them hooks. They're my go-to hook. Again, they should have always been my go-to hook. Used them all my life. Then the last 2 years switch hooks and end up losing fish. But yeah, them little judders that we had were nothing by the looks of it. It might have just been tide run. We did it on both. I've actually got a grip lead now on the running ledger rig, an old grip lead. If we do have another rock session, I'll be using some sliced jig bars on that. I ain't going through grip leads at 160 each, even £1 each. It's not worth it, is it? The fish are close in, your rig comes close in, sort of thing. With the tide, I'll chop some bars up to about 8 or 9 ounce or something. I'm only doing a gentle cast with that rod. I'm not going to snap it. It can cast up to 8 ounce and bait, so it's what it is, isn't it? Got my breakfast, salted cashews, nice cup of tea. Right, just a snack this. I'm going for a fry up when we get back. We're nicking kids. Valentine's Day today. I mean, I'm happy with just that conger. Me, we almost don't have a conger. I think I've had two bait ups at running ledger rig since the conger, and 2 with that pulley rig, Peninsula rig type thing. I've moved the stop knot now, so it's a full pulley rig. It's a test it because I didn't catch anything on it. It was a paternoster. I'm thinking that fixed pattern, it's like a, what do you call it, semi-fixed paternoster rig. I think it's might be better off the beach, but I was thinking it might nail us a pollock or a coley. It still might do. We'll see. I'm happy with conger, honestly, that'll do me. Just testing it about. Get off at mark with conger reel, and you can focus on other stuff, can't you? Some bonuses of that, I'd say. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Results and all that. I'll show you sky in a minute. You can just about, I think you can just about tell it's getting light. If you look, you can see it rising out there. So we'll pan round in a minute and have a look. Some bright red sky to the left. I'll let it come up a bit and then we'll have a look. Hopefully a fish happens before then. Oh, my light's gone out. That's battery gone on it. Right, we have daylight. It's a lovely morning. The wind has just got it drastically wrong, which is good for me. I'm happy with that. It's nowhere near as rough as I thought it would have going to be. If I known it was going to be like this, I might have gone somewhere else. No more bites really. No more rig losses either. I'm surprised I caught anything on that small hook. It's a 3.0 hook, because when I lost the rig earlier, the next rig had a 3.0 on. Just can't buy a fish on it at the moment. Maybe I'm casting it too far for rockling and stuff. I have zapped it right out. Seriously, we're just an overhead cast. Now I've put brakes in the Slosh 30. It's the rod on the right I'm referring to, by the way. This one here. Now I've put brakes in that Slosh 30. The only chance of that bird's nesting is if I don't put my thumb on the spool when it hits the water. I've got it running nice. Be interested to see what it does, what it casts like with a big bait, won't it? A small bait, I can get it right out. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong. Small fish, probably closer, should probably drop it a bit closer in. We'll see. I'm going to make another bait up for that anyway. I've just put a whiting head on the running ledger rig, rod on the left. Whiting head, same bait as what I caught the conger on. So we are struggling a bit, truthfully, but things can change drastically. It's funny, isn't it, how that one fish has made this session relatively successful. And you just think if I'd come down at the time I was going to come down, because I come down earlier than what I normally would do, but I was awake, I wouldn't have caught that fish. And it was funny that I was blabbing away about whiting not being very successful for me, and the fish I've caught is on whiting. So I think it's just a case of, I think sometimes, I'll spin you around. I think sometimes when you try baits, you should analyse the session about the other baits you've used as well if they haven't worked. And thinking on, I think when whiting's failed, I don't think the other baits have been too successful either. Just a thought, isn't it? So I think we've got, what time we're on now? I'm going to give it till 9 o'clock, I think. We're at 7:30 now, so we've got an hour and a half left. I do think we'll get something else out, I do. The good thing about it is I've only had a dab and a whiting and a conger now on the species hunt. So unless we get another conger, the only fish we could get is something that'll qualify for the species hunt. So it'd be nice to just get a dogfish, you know, a rockling, a pollock, a coley. I think the 3-0 hook might be a bit too big for a pouting, but can't one just hang itself on the point of the hook? Like Dad do sometimes on big hooks. I mean, I think I've loved it this morning. It does help catching the fish, doesn't it? You know, it does. I sound like I'm bleating on about just a bootlace conger, but I'm really pleased to have got that one off, ticked off. It means when we get to the latter stage of the species hunt, we can try and focus on some other fish. You want to get all the ones that are achievable, don't you, off the way you're fishing. You want to get them penned in early, and then maybe you can focus on other species. You don't want to get into December and still having like bullus and conger to tick off. Sorry, just had an itch. So yeah, it'd make it a good session if we just get another fish out. It's okay at the minute, it's okay. But I'm just looking at the water. There hasn't been much rain for over the last couple of months, and you know what? The clarity's pretty goddamn decent. Usually when it rains in winter, it clouds the water up. If I can get down here, I might have a go with feathers, you know, one day. You can get herring off these marks. I've had them before, not for a long time. I've never spun in February. I've done it in the latter stages of autumn and had them. I've done it earlier on in the spring, in like end of April, beginning of May time. But we may have a go. If I known it were going to be this settled, I'd have brought a third rod down and put a flapper rig out or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just typical, isn't it? You can't predict the weather on these marks. The only way of assessing it within reason, if you're looking at like when it looks like it might be touch and go, the only way of assessing it is to come down and have a look for yourself. But I knew it might be a bit rough today, but it's not actually that bad. So I'm going to change bait on the small hook now. I might change them both actually, and see if we can entice a fish in. I don't know if to drop it in a bit closer or not. See what I decide when I've reeled it in. Going a bit bigger now. Squid and bullet tuna, full squid, big section of bullet tuna and an 8-0 O'Shaughnessy. See if we can just entice something else onto it, a huss, another eel, tope, whatever. Right, I've got 50 minutes left. I've just took the short pulley rig that I've got off with that. It's got a stop knot on it basically, that's slidey from the lead line on the rig body, lead side of the rig body, all the way up with the pulley bead, sort of traps the pulley bead basically, so it can make it fish like a paternoster. Now truthfully, because it's a short rig, it casts fantastic. I've messed about with that slidey stop knot thing. I showed it in my last video. If you watch episode 2, you'll see how that works, but off here it hasn't worked very well. I think it's just because of the terrain that we're fishing in. So I've just put an up and over rig on. 3 foot, 2 foot body, 3 foot tray snood. I seem to remember small tides on this mark, longer snoods seem to work better. We'll see, won't we? I'm surprised we haven't caught anything on small hooks. It's got a 3-0, the up and over's got a 3-0 bottom hook and a 3-0 Chinook behind it. 3-0 Tamers and a 3-0 Chinook, mustard Chinook behind it. So we'll just see if we can winkle a fish out on it. I've just put bullet tuna and squid on, a slightly bigger bait. It's been a slow session really, after a decent start. 50 minutes left, see what happens. One more bait out on the bigger bait, on the 8-0 hook, on the running ledger. Probably one more out on this up and over that we've got out now. I don't really like up and overs off here. I think it just encourages your lead to get snagged up when you're reeling in. Or even your hooks sometimes, because obviously you've got 3 foot, if there's no fish on it, you've got 3 foot out, haven't you, below your lead. Yeah. I'm happy, but I'm disappointed at the same time. See how we get on anyway as week goes on. I'm desperate to try a bit of worm off here, but we've got poor tides for it. I think we might get some later in the week though, so see how we get on. Fingers crossed we get another fish out today first and foremost. Lost the running ledger rig, so I've managed to find in my bag a 2-hook flapper rig. One of the hooks is a bit bent on it, but I'll straighten it out with pliers. I'm going to put some prawn and squid on one and put a bit of line there. Bullet tuna on other, I think, straight. See how it goes. Last bait up, might as well have a go for something else. I'm all packed up, about ready. Well, I'm ready. The big yomp back up the cliff. The side's turned a bit. There's a bit of swell starting to build. I'm guessing that wind that they predicted is probably arriving later than what they said. So, it is what it is that. We've got our session in. We're happy. Relatively successful. I did hope that would have caught some smaller species, to be honest. You know, pollock from about a pound upwards, £1.5 upwards. But it wants to be, unfortunately, this morning. I think we might hit a bullus mark. Well, one of my favourite bullus marks next time, maybe. We'll certainly hit it before I go home. So we'll just see how it goes. I mean, I'll just recap the session. First bait up with whiting head. I was just slating whiting, say I never caught anything on whiting. And I reeled in for a bait change. It got snagged. I just went to pull line, you could feel that resistance and a bit of a tugging from a fish. When I hit into it, well, I managed to pull it free, should I say. And I obviously got it on, picked the rod up, started retrieving whatever was on it. It did feel like half decent, and it was slightly bigger conger than what I've had, probably the biggest conger I've had for 2 years. So, like I say, I'm not going to get too carried away. I know people have had bigger. I know I've had bigger. I've seen people have bigger, but for the time of year, we'll just call it a relatively successful session overall. Could have done with a few more fish. Even on the flapper rig there. I had a couple of baits come back untouched, and then I had another bait up and one of them were gone. I'd actually elasticated it on. So, I don't know. The tides are going to start picking up at the end of the week. We'll see what happens when we're getting that scale of them rising again, getting bigger. Other than that, I'm going to get my send back up. I think I'll have a dessert fry up at the cafe. So, for episode 3, that's it, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. The lighting was better. Just a bit disappointed I couldn't bring you more fish. I'm really happy so we've got a fish for the species on, and let's crack on and let's have another go next time. So see you later.